Hi everyone, my name is Hallie Bullens and this is my Block 2 product demonstration. So for my intervention I chose cognitive training. So when I was looking at some of my domains I was weak in, I was especially weak in cognitive abilities. So cognitive training is a type of exercise where an individual can improve their cognitive thinking skills and just their overall thinking abilities. Some examples of cognitive abilities include memory, speed, thinking flexibility, reasoning, attention span, concentration, problem solving, creative thinking. It can also help maintain and improve your overall fluid intelligence or intelligence fluidity. So cognitive training can be really useful for a variety of populations, such as populations with memory loss, populations with dementia and the elderly, but they're also useful for individuals with autism and intellectual disabilities, which is my population that I made this activity for. So my activity is a picture and a word association art. So pretty much what it is that clients are going to create a chart where they pick out images from magazines, so they'll clip out images and they'll make connections between those images. So I have an example here on the slide. If you can't see it well, I'll kind of explain it. For example, I have an image of a woman in a bathing suit. So I was looking through the magazine, okay, so how can a woman in a bathing suit be connected to another image? And I saw an image of a beach. So obviously it's connected because you wear a bathing suit to the beach. And that's just an example of associations we make in everyday life, but people that are neurotypical may take advantage of because people with autism and intellectual disabilities sometimes struggle to make those connections. So the clients are going to create a chart that makes associations between images using clippings from magazines. This activity will touch on cognitive skills such as critical thinking, memorization, vocabulary, creative thinking, and also just overall concentration that you need in an activity like this. It also helps build relationships between everyday objects for daily application. For example, whereas we see a stop sign, we know stop sign means we need to stop because a car is coming. Where someone with autism or intellectual disability might not make this connection. That's why this activity can be helpful, as it's good practice to make those connections between images and words. So the materials you'll need for this activity is an activity room. You're going to need tables and chairs for the clients and participants to sit at, magazines, preferably about 3 to 5 per person, but if people are sitting at one table, let's say there's 5 people, everyone can share. That's another aspect of the activity that is not as notable but is important too, to practice sharing. 1 pair of scissors for each participant, preferably safety scissors, just in case. 1 glue stick per participant, preferably a glue stick. I found worked better. I also used liquid glue, but it took longer to dry, and a glue stick works just as well. And 1 piece of construction paper per participant. And that's a great opportunity for participants to be creative. They get to pick whatever color they want and pick whatever markers or pencil or whatever to label their images. So the first step is to look through magazines for connections. So there's 2 different ways you can do this. A participant, before they go into the magazine, they could already have an idea of like, okay, I'm looking for an image of a gardener. So they look for an image of a gardener and they think, okay, what's connected to a gardener? Where does a gardener work? Or a gardener works in a garden, and you can do it that way. Another way you can do this, and this could be easier for some people, is allow the participant to cut out as many images as they want, as honestly a lot of images, so they have a lot of variety, and then allow them to look through those images and make connections between those images. For example, they may have an image, they've cut out a bunch, and they may have 2 completely different images, like a wheel and a picture of a car. So they're looking through those images and they're making that connection. Oh, a wheel goes in a car. So that's the connection they're making. So that's two different ways you can do this step. And then you're going to go and cut out those selected images. Again, that kind of goes back to the first step. You can go ahead and cut them out in the beginning and then sort through them. Or you can find a specific image or picture and look for a connection to another picture. Step 3 is you're going to glue down the images to the piece of paper. It should be pretty simple with a glue stick. You're just going to glue around the edges in the middle so it'll lie flat as possible and line them up evenly to each other, but you're going to want to leave about 1 inch of space underneath so you can label each image. And then finally you're going to label the image. Like I have this picture of, like I talked about earlier, I found a picture of a gardener and I found a picture of flowers or a garden. So I wrote gardener and then I drew an arrow. I'm making that connection, a visual representation of that connection to garden. And that's what the client would do. And that's important because they're seeing that through images and words. So some people learn better through pictures, some people learn better through words, and this is a combination of both. They're seeing it written down and they're also seeing it in an image. And for step 5 is the clients and participants are going to go over that chart. So they've made those connections and they know it, but you're going to want them to go over it one more time and just make those connections. So I'll do that now. So my first image, like I talked about in the beginning, was a woman in a bathing suit in a beach. So the client would say, okay, so how are those connected? Well, you wear a bathing suit to go to the beach. That's how it's connected. The second image is a picture of a wheel and a picture of a car. How is a wheel and a car connected? Well, a wheel is in a car. You use a wheel to steer a car, and that's how they're connected. And the last one I have is images of apples and an image of a tree. So how are apples and trees connected? Well, apples come from trees. Apples grow in trees, and that's how you get apples. So the client/participant is just going to go over those connections and those associations and use their critical thinking skills to figure out how they're connected, the where, the why, the how, the when, all of those aspects. So my final thoughts are that I feel that this could be really useful for individuals with autism and intellectual disabilities because I find and research shows that these populations often struggle with their cognitive abilities. So these individuals often struggle with their cognitive abilities, so it's really important to train those abilities. Also, using arts and crafts is a great way to practice those fine motor skills, and that also works with your cognitive skills. So, thank you so much for listening, and I hope you enjoyed my presentation. Thank you.